Hello, it's Marco from Anador Media with another video talking about the game The Dreamland. Why? Because there's more to talk about. In mid-April 2023, this game received yet another update from the developers, and there are no notes on the Steam store advising what changes or updates were made. In my first video on this game, I discussed whether or not the Dreamland was a quick cash grab using third-party assets or a genuine game. I concluded that, due to having many, albeit unfinished, game mechanics including harvesting, crafting, structure building, combat, exploration, and more, that it was indeed a genuine survival game. Somewhat generic, but genuine. Then I made a follow-up video to point out that the game had a big update with no notes on the Steam store advising what the changes were. That time, the game was drastically changed. Instead of the open world with resources to gather, crafting, building, and villagers to rescue, the player started on a huge platform in the middle of the ocean fending off wave after wave of skeleton pirates. Each wave increased the number of enemies, and the goal was to collect scrolls of ancient knowledge. For details, please see my first two videos on this game. The playlist will be in the description of this video. So now it looks like the game has yet another update. I jumped back into the game to see what has changed or has been added. Let's take a look. The first thing that I see is that the developers have added a few new models to the character selection, continuing their practice of providing only female characters in various states of undress. I decided to go with Nancy Drew here, as I will need some help solving the mystery of this bonkers game. Sorry, Frank and Joe, you are not invited to this party. I see that the game now takes place in central Canada, in the springtime. Nancy opens a nearby crate and finds one is empty and the other has a bunch of party supplies. Looks like a festival is about to begin. Looking over the supplies, there is only one thing that can be interacted with, the building plans. There's also 100 wood as well. Seems like a good place to start. Confusion sets in when Nancy sees that the building plans require wooden clubs. Foundations, ramps, doorways are all made with wooden clubs. She begins to question what the 100 wood is for. Looking around, there's an assortment of wooden clubs lying on the ground. It does not take long to see the connection. Nancy picks up the clubs, equips one as a weapon, and starts to build the house of her dreams. How to get more clubs to expand the building? Let's worry about that later. It is not long before a group of local Canadians approach, probably here to welcome Nancy with poutines and Tim Hortons. Whoa, this is not a welcoming committee, this is the unwelcome committee. Nancy Drew prepares to defend herself against a group of overzealous fans. She has been in worse situations before. This situation gets out of hand when the number of enemies become difficult to determine. 5, 10, 20? More? Realizing that this group means business, Nancy heads back to the shelter of the one wooden foundation where she is determined to stand her ground. Nancy valiantly fights back and dispatches one of the attackers. I press the F key trying to sprout wings in order to airlift Nancy out of this predicament, but apparently this is one of the character models that does not come with wings. We open the inventory looking for something to assist in this perilous situation. Blood of the undead pirates, bones, sand. This is Nancy Drew, not MacGyver. Nancy Drew runs around looking for the local law enforcement. No cell phone, no police, a raging blizzard. What is Nancy to do? Oh, the scenery looks kind of nice. Maybe we've evaded the mob of angry locals. Oh wait, no, there they are. Back to the shelter of the solitary wooden foundation, Nancy checks the building plans again. Perhaps we're just missing something. Surrounded by 10, 20, 50 assailants, Nancy soon succumbs to their mighty blows. I decide to let Nancy go on a well-deserved vacation as I select a different character. I choose a character not based on her impeccable sense of fashion or her skills as a cosplay runway model, but because I know this character has the options to sprout wings and fly. We find ourselves back in central Canada, that lousy smarch weather. Following in the steps of her predecessor, this character takes all the party supplies and picks up the wooden clubs, noting that there are only 5 this time, not enough to make a foundation and keep one as a weapon. I may have missed something last time, so I do things slightly different. I build the foundation again, but this time I place down the workbench, thinking the workbench will provide options to build better equipment or something to defend against the horde of angry locals. Maybe not, as I see that crafting anything requires a lot of things that are not currently available. Most peculiar. Lacking resources to build anything, I decide it's time to go exploring, especially as the unwelcoming committee has arrived and I know what they did to poor Nancy Drew. This lovely maiden takes to the air to explore around and see what else is available in this strange land that looks tropical but is currently under the effects of a snowy blizzard. Off in a distance is a mountain with a large spike protruding from the top. Is that of any significance? Don't know. Unable to find any way to increase the altitude of the flight, I have to rub the character's face against the cliff so that the character will slide up the cliff face. Don't worry, it does not seem to hurt. At the top I find a tall structure that appears to be a radio tower. Civilization at last! Hello? Hello? Can anyone hear me? How do you dial 911 without a telephone? Finding no way to interact with the tower, I take to the air again only to find another tower in the distance. Are these important? Is there some objective involving these towers? Who knows? The game has provided no information whatsoever. I fly around for quite some time, hoping to find something of significance, some objective, something to do. Is that a cave? I fly down to take a look and already see a group of angry locals approaching. Discretion is the better part of valor, so I take to the air again. A lighthouse is spotted atop a scenic cliff. This would be a nice spot to build a home and enjoy the scenery. Nearby is a rock formation that, in a previous version of the game, would be a treasure trove of resources harvested using a pickaxe. As I have no tools of any kind, I merely punch the boulder in anger and make my way to the lovely looking lighthouse. Finding no way in, or any way to interact with it, take to the air again. Determined to find something, I fly around looking at the beautiful tropical island and wonderful green-blue tropical waters from within a snowy blizzard. Drawn to that tower on the mountain, I head in that direction. The tower is on top of a mountain. It must be important, right? Partway there, I suddenly recall that the game has a journal, and I press J to bring up the text, which will surely provide information to guide me on what to do. Dreamland. Welcome to Deadland. Deadland? We are in momentary expectation of the arrival of you about this game. At present, the game is in its early stage, the game's playing method is not perfect, and the numerical value and plot system are also quite bad. Their words, not mine. But this is not important because your arrival will help us to play this game together in the evening. What? Another important thing, the game has built-in cheating mode. Alt+3, Alt+4, Alt+5 can give you a lot of experience and equipment, respectively. Oh, is that what I'm missing? Am I supposed to use the cheat codes to give myself equipment and experience and then fend off the attacking hordes? I land the character, and I follow the commands. I press Alt+3, and Alt+4, and Alt+5, and nothing happens. I double check the journal again and reread the writing. And at this point I give up. I've explored around, found nothing to interact with. There's no way to harvest anything. There's no equipment that you can get. There's no equipment you can craft because you can't get any resources. And if you're on the ground, then enemies just home in on you and attack you, and I don't understand what this game is about. But wait, I have good news!
Good news, everyone!
I found where the survival game elements are. In the free version of the game. Yes, the Dreamland has a paid version and a free version. For some reason, the version that requires people to hand over money in order to play has little to no gameplay, but you do get to select one of the models from the character selection, while the free version actually has resource gathering, crafting, and building mechanics. There are less character models and they can only be selected by random. In the free version, the combat seems easier, there are friendly computer-controlled characters walking around, and for some reason, you begin with a buttload of resources right in the starting area. In this version, the text in the journal is somewhat different. We need you. Welcome to the Dreamland. At present, the completion of the game is very low, which cannot bring you a happy game experience. I am very sorry for this. Although it will be a short journey, I hope you can like them. The future is promising. Have fun. Indeed. Needless to say, even this version, although having no cost, is far from a polished game. The journal has some basic information. I was not able to get the fly or the arrow craft working by pressing the F and Y keys respectively, but holding down the Alt key does let you move the camera around the character, and then you can press the F1, F2, and F3 keys to make changes to the character's look. Some changes are minor, like having shoulder pads or not, or completely changing the outfit. Hey, that NPC just took out one of the skeletons without taking any damage. Good job! When I first encountered this game, I tried the free version first. After playing for a bit, I thought the game had potential. It was pretty basic, but was early access and still had room to grow, so I decided to purchase the full game. It was 50% off at the time. Boy, was I a big dummy. So now I am making these videos on the Dreamland to save viewers time and money. If the paid version gets an update, I'll probably do another video, either to point out that the game is moving in a good direction, or to point out how further bonkers the game is. But that's going to be it for this video. If you have not done so already, check out the other gameplay videos on the channel. Want to see an example of a game that was cancelled while still in early access, but was actually a good game with a fair amount of content? Check out my series on Windborne. So that's it. Take care, everyone.